It's been nearly a week since the mass shooting in a quiet Raleigh neighborhood took the lives of 5 residents and critically injured 2 others.
As the community mourns the unthinkable, Carolina Week honors the lives of the victims. Nicole Connors, 52, whose husband describes local media as a fun-loving person and someone who took care of him and her family.
Susan Carnatz, 49, a wife, a mother of 3, and an avid runner.
Mary Marshall, 34, a Navy veteran just 2 weeks shy of her wedding.
James Thompson, 16, a junior at Knightdale High School and the suspect's older brother.
And Gabriel Torres, a 29-year-old Raleigh police officer, husband and father of 1.
On Thursday, police received a call about a person shot a little after 5 p.m. and arrived at the scene soon after. The suspect opened fire in his neighborhood before continuing onto the Neuse River Greenway. There was a long standoff with law enforcement. According to the police chief, the 15-year-old suspect is currently hospitalized and in critical condition.
Stick with us for a look at UNC's own March for Our Lives chapter's response to this tragedy.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Taylin Kane.
And I'm Lauren Fichten. On the heels of a mass shooting in Raleigh and the sentencing of Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz, UNC March for Our Lives hosted a rally Friday calling awareness to gun violence and promoting action for gun control legislation. Our reporter, Mackenzie O'Donnell, has more.
End gun violence. No more silence. End gun violence.
When the UNC chapter of March for Our Lives planned their October 14th rally against gun violence, they didn't know what would lead up to the gathering.
Yes, I have a male shot, Hispanic. Okay. He's an off-duty cop? Here's his badge. He's an off-duty officer.
The largest mass shooting in the city of Raleigh's history to date, and just a few hours earlier, Nicholas Cruz, who in 2018 opened fire inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, was sentenced to life in prison. One speaker at the rally, UNC freshman Amy Bowachi, shared her harrowing story of narrowly escaping a mass shooting.
I immediately knew I wanted to participate due to my experience with gun violence.
Living in a city traumatized by gun violence desensitized me to it, kept me living in fear, and overall had an impact on the way I and other young activists lived our lives.
Bowachi is from Louisville, Kentucky, where she was in the middle of a shooting that broke out at the state fair in 2019.
I just remember moms and their children running through and them shoving through and being like let me through, I have children, they can't get hurt.
She ran over 2 miles from the fairgrounds to a hotel where her dad could safely pick her up.
Being part of something like that, even just watching it go down in your community so much, you become aware to the effects that it has on the people around you.
Bowachi is only one of many voices calling for more gun control measures. Megan Chen, the president of UNC March for Our Lives, says this to those who want to see changes made to gun law.
We really just want people to head to the polls and make the changes necessary that we have been lacking in our government for far too long.
If you're strolling Franklin Street, you may see bus stops full of displaced community members. There are over 170 people experiencing homelessness in Orange County. More than half of them are African Americans, even though this group only makes up 12% of Orange County's entire population. And if you ask them, they have something to say about it.
I'm 64 years old. I've worked hard all my life. I'm 64. I'm battling cancer, and I've had a major stroke. I find myself now in 2022 being in a position where I can't work. I can't get my Social Security due to the fact that they say they're backed up with the cause of COVID. So I'm a person on the street, a homeless person. They can't not get in a homeless shelter.
Although the amount of housing insecure people has decreased since last year, the problem has not gone away. Countless phone calls are made to the Chapel Hill Police Department every day.
homelessness on its face is not a criminal matter and is not going to be solved by throwing more cops at it. It's just not. And criminalizing, again, our most vulnerable people in our community is also not the answer.
One of the main resources offered in Chapel Hill for homelessness is the Street Outreach, Harm Reduction, and Inflection Program. If you or someone you know is concerned about their housing situation, you can call 919-886-3351.
Health experts have often found ties between substance abuse and homelessness. Here at UNC, the campus-wide partnered with Campus Emergency Services for a free medical emergency training over the weekend. During the session, campus EMS taught everything from CPR to basic first aid training. But in the face of the ongoing opioid crisis, students also learned how to use naloxone, or Narcan, an emergency drug that temporarily reverses opioid overdoses. According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, there have been more than 28,000 opioid-related deaths in the state since 2000. That's why organizations across campus are encouraging people to carry Narcan and learn how to use it.
I think it's really important that we teach and understand that Narcan is readily available and it's not hard to use because it could save someone's life.
As students here at Chapel Hill prepare for fall break, conversations about equity and diversity haven't stopped. Stick with us.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Before the break, we talked about issues of racial disparities in housing. They are not just happening on the streets, but also in the classroom.
In its most recent accreditation review, the UNC Hussman School didn't meet some of its diversity standards. The school's accreditation was then temporarily downgraded. Reporter Charlotte Zhao checked in with school leaders about what they're doing to change that.
The ACE-JMC downgraded the Hussman School's accreditation status to provisional, citing internal and external diversity issues in its report, especially, quote, the controversy surrounding the decision by Nicole Hannah-Jones to turn out a tenured endowed chair at the school exposed long-standing problems, end quote. Dean Roy Ross shared in an email that the school ratified a new diversity and inclusion plan of action to address the agency's concern and fulfill the school's commitment to building a welcoming, inclusive, and diverse school culture, he said. Faculty, staff, and administrators work deliberately and collaboratively, the school's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair, Trevi McDonald, said, to make sure this plan incorporates multiple voices and perspectives.
I think that DEI is not the responsibility just of faculty of color or staff of color or students of color, but it's everyone's responsibility.
Distinguished alumna and journalist Karen Parker is no stranger to these issues. It is saddening, she says, as the first African-American woman to enroll and graduate at Carolina, that they continue to happen.
I'm disappointed considering that UNC was a little ahead of itself when I was in school. Instead of completely going forward, it's gone backwards to some degree. And that disappoints me for my alma mater. I want to be proud of it.
The new plan includes hosting events to foster first-year students' sense of cohort and belonging, holding listening sessions with students, and establishing the Dean Student Advisory Council to serve as a direct communication channel between the Dean and diverse student groups. The council will review the school's progress again in 2024. In Chapel Hill, I'm Charlotte Zhao, Carolina Week.
For the past several weeks, UNC housekeepers have been pushing back on their current wages. The union is petitioning for an increase in pay to $20 an hour. To gain the community's attention, the group will hold a meeting today at noon at Keenan Hall. We'll bring you more about the housekeepers' pleas next week.
Students across the country are always concerned about the security of their data and whether or not schools are violating their privacy. New reports show that UNC employed a controversial program monitoring the social media of students involved in protests in 2018. Reporter Pete Viesmil has more.
Student privacy concerns are on the rise after a new report from the Dallas Morning News. The revelations sound like something from a dystopian future.
He reminds me of 1984. Where is Big Brother? And I don't want to think of that.
My gut reaction was that it was pretty repulsive.
The story describes the university's use of a program called Social Sentinel, which gives universities the ability to review students' social media accounts. New details indicate UNC used the service to monitor Silent Sam demonstrations in 2017 and 2018.
They are setting the precedent that, they can buy a service to monitor what students say, and they don't have to inform students. They don't have to give students a voice in that decision.
And to some students, these details have led to a loss of confidence in the university.
Targeted in some way, or be kept in a data file somewhere, it's not a good feeling.
The university maintains it did not use the service inappropriately, telling multiple media outlets the service, quote, only uses public information and does not collect private personal information, end quote. Even so, some are calling for UNC to be more transparent on the situation.
So I think there needs to be a full-spirited public disclosure statement that's saying that the university doesn't believe in this. Why would you track social media to find the mind of your students?
UNC will not renew the contract with Social Sentinel after it expires at the end of the month. In Chapel Hill, I'm Pete Viesmil.
Lead contamination is now being discovered in the dorms on campus. Spencer Residence Hall has 57 of 84 community water fountains test positive for lead. The university says that tests will continue and will aggressively address the issue. And while the university works on the issue, UNC students get to enjoy a long weekend without classes Thursday and Friday for fall break. And I am so lit for this break, Lauren. It is very much needed. While some students will head home for the break, if you are staying in Chapel Hill this weekend, go ahead to the North Carolina State Fair for some fall fun. Let's turn to Carolina Week's Stephen Schlink for an inside look at the year's fair festivities.
Stephen, you have to tell us what fair foods we should be looking out for this year.
That's right, Taylor and Lauren. There are tons of options, and the fairgoers I've talked with say they're willing to try a little something different. Now, I've been checking out all the options here at the fair this year for you, and here is a sneak peek. The State Fair is famous for traditions like the Ferris wheel, Al's Fries, and animals. But it's also known for unique twists on food and exciting rides.
The food. I milk the cows. I really like milking the cows, but basically the food.
I've definitely gone on a lot more rides this year than past years because the lines were a lot shorter.
This year, the fair welcomes 2 new rides, the Air Max, which launches you in the air and twists you round and round, as well as the Wave Swinger, which is a ride fairgoers from years past would recognize.
The Air Max. The Air Max, yes. That was a really good one. I did not expect that at all. It's nothing like any other of the rides. You feel like you're going to fall out of your seat.
Turning now to food, the State Fair is home to 41 new dishes this year. Some of these are a dill pickle pizza from Rudy's, honey butter chicken fries, frozen banana pudding tacos, clearly something for every plate.
We had flaming hot Cheeto corn. We had Al's French fries, which is like a classic that I always go to.
Speaking of food, a fan favorite at the fair is an ice-cold lemonade from one of many stands around the grounds. We caught up with William Coons, who works at one, about his favorite part about the fair.
The fireworks, just meeting all these nice people out here.
So as you can see, there's no shortage of things to do or things to eat. Now the fair is open until Sunday, and tomorrow only you can get in for free by bringing 6 cans of food items. Otherwise, you can find tickets online or at the gate. In Raleigh, Stephen Schlink, Carolina Week.
Steven, you're making me wish I wasn't going out of town for fall break.
Me too. The only thing I'm still worried about is this weekend's weather.
Let's turn to meteorologist Brian Foster to find out what to expect.
Well, this weekend looks like it's going to be really warm for the state fair. Up until that point, though, it's going to be really chilly. As a matter of fact, we were in a freeze warning last night, and it looks like these watches and warnings will continue into the area even into tonight, maybe even tomorrow night as well. It's going to be really chilly these first couple of days up until the weekend. Because cold temperatures will linger throughout Thursday, and then finally we could have some moderating temperatures, some heat building into the area this weekend, just in time to enjoy the state fair before it moves out for the season. And I want to explain to you why we've got so much cold air, so abnormally cold this time of year. We're under the influence of this cold Canadian air mass straight from Canada, seeping into the area, giving us some really cold temperatures, especially by tonight. It will be dry, though it will give it more opportunity for us to go into freezing conditions later on tonight. So make sure you're bringing your plants indoors if they aren't already. Moving on into tomorrow, temperatures will moderate a little bit into the lower 60s, but we're still under the influence of this cool air mass over the area. However, as this cool air mass moderates and moves towards the east, it's going to leave some room for some warm air to finally make its way towards North Carolina. It's going to, you'll be seeing that in our 5-day forecast. Temperatures will be warming up, especially by this weekend. And also, one thing you'll notice that I haven't mentioned at all is rain. In fact, right now we're doing pretty good with our drought conditions, although I expect this to worsen over the next several days. It looks like we won't be seeing much rain at all, maybe except for Sunday. But besides that, may not be seeing any rain for the next week or so. So keep in mind to water your plants as well when they are inside. So anyways, taking a look at your forecast for tomorrow, enjoy your fall break. It will be cold at first. Literally, it will be freezing if you're waking up early in the morning. Temperatures will be right at 32 degrees, quickly warming up, though, to the low 60s later on in the afternoon. Great weather to be outdoors, walking your dog, and just really enjoying the autumn colors on the trees that are outside right now. Taking a look at your forecast for Saturday for the state fair, be warming up even more, mid-60s, even 70s around 3 o'clock. It's not pictured on this map. However, quickly cooling off to the mid-60s, lower 50s Saturday night when you're outside enjoying the state fair. And I hope you are, because here's another great food that's going to be out there at the state fair this weekend, Pepsi glazed donuts. Now, it sounds a little weird, but it's something that I'd like to try as well. Plenty of amazing food out at the state fair and amazing rides as well. So make sure to enjoy the state fair, as we will have great weather, at least for Saturday. Looking at your 5-day forecast, it will be cool to start. Temperatures will be close to 60 today. These symbols that I have on the map right now indicate some freezing conditions that we could have later on at nighttime by tonight and tomorrow night as well. So make sure you're dressing in layers, especially for those freezing conditions that we'll be having early in the week. However, temperatures will be moderating. Plenty of sunshine, at least up until Sunday. Could have some clouds moving in from a rain system, bringing in some moisture from the Atlantic. Keeping an eye on that. Right now, it does look like it'll be producing a lot of rain. Just something to keep in mind if you have any state fair plans for this weekend. So anyways, guys, cool to start. Warm finish to your weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed the state fair and have a great day.
Thanks, Brian. Next on Carolina Week, we turn to Carolina Athletics, what they've been up to and what they have coming after this.
I'm a first-generation Filipino American. You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in. It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
Taylin, have you seen that Sports Illustrated cover of Coach Davis and our basketball team?
Yes, I have. It has been all over my feed since yesterday. We go to Sports Extra's Joshua Dolgoff to tell us more.
Yes, Taylin, this recreation of the iconic 1981 cover has been breaking the internet. And here's why. UNC men's basketball was tabbed the preseason #1 team in the country Monday, with 4 stars returning from last season's national runner-up team. The top ranking marks the 10th time the Tar Heels have been ranked atop the Associated Press poll. the most of any program in NCAA history. The last time UNC came into a season ranked first was before the 2015-2016 season, when the Tar Heels made it to the national championship before ultimately losing to Villanova. The Tar Heels return a core championship pedigree that includes junior guards Caleb Love and RJ Davis, as well as senior center Armando Bacot and graduate forward Leaky Black. UNC tips off its season on November 7th against UNCW. The Associated Press poll also released the preseason women's basketball rankings on Tuesday morning. Carolina women's basketball will begin the season ranked 12th in the nation, the highest ranking the team has seen in 7 years. The Tar Heels have not been ranked this high since January of 2015, when they were also ranked number 12. The Heels are returning 4 starters after a 25-7 record and reaching the Sweet 16 last year. One of them, junior Deja Kelly, has been named to the Lieberman Award watch list. UNC season opener will take place at Carmichael Arena against Jackson State on November 9th. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. As we await a great season from Deja Kelly, let's look at women's soccer as they head closer to the postseason with a top 5 matchup on the horizon. The number 5 ranked Tar Heels will travel down south to take on number 3 Florida State in an ACC showdown. The women are coming off of 3 consecutive shutout wins. The team will look to 2 of its top goal scorers in junior Avery Patterson and senior defender Tori Hansen to lead Carolina to an upset. Kickoff is set for Thursday at 8 p.m. Carolina Women's Golf hosted the Tar Heel Invitational at the Governor's Club over the past 2 days in Chapel Hill. On Tuesday, the UNC women's golf team placed 3rd in the Ruth Chris Tar Heel Invitational. The Heels finished the tournament at 13 over. Leading the team was Kayla Smith, who tied for 8th place at even par, shooting 216. UNC has some of the best and most accomplished athletics programs in the country. As reporter Olivia Mundorf tells us, the Heels work with a team of administrators to learn the best approach to profiting from their name, image, and likeness.
The UNC NIL team has worked diligently to make sure that Tar Heels have every possible advantage to be just as successful in the NIL space as they are on the field. Kara Canizero, former Carolina women's lacrosse player who led her team to the program's first national championship in 2013, now works as the NIL coordinator at UNC.
When I was a student athlete, we weren't able to monetize our name, image, and likeness. So I had to wait till after college to step into that space.
A large part of her role each day is making sure that UNC is up to date with NIL policies and boundaries. Nate Wood, Associate Athletic Director and NCAA Compliance at UNC, works closely with Canizero.
So we meet every day, and we'll discuss all the impacts in our different areas that we've seen in NIL. Then we'll also have a conversation just generally about what we're seeing nationally, right?
Both Canizero and Wood emphasized the importance of educating athletes on NIL regulations.
We bring in speakers throughout the fall and spring semesters. We have free legal services through our law school here at Carolina. We have some advisors in the business school and the J school who have helped.
These educational resources are just one reason UNC has been successful in the NIL space.
I just think our biggest advantage is that we win in the classroom and on the field. So we have really excellent student athletes here. And I think if you are a brand, you want to be associated with our student athletes.
But as NIL becomes more regulated and better understood, what does the future of college sports look like?
I think long-term, it has minimal impact. I think there's a bigger impact, and that is going to be employment status. That dramatically changes college athletics forever.
Through the help of the UNC NIL team, one thing is for sure. The Heels will continue to lead in the NIL space just as they do on the field. I'm Olivia Mundorf, reporting.
The most recent development in UNC athletics is the Carolina NIL Exchange, which has already helped Tar Heels partner with interested businesses. That's going to do it for sports. No sports extra this Friday because of fall break, but it's still an exciting weekend for Carolina athletics, including Aaron Matson's final home regular season game this Sunday. Catch us on Monday for the full recap. We'll be right back.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
Sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug. You know I'm for you.
I know.
Look at the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for you. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
And just like that, we're just a few hours away from fall break.
Here's what some UNC students say is the best way to spend their fall break.
I spend time with my family. They've rented a beach house out in the Outer Banks, and my dog has never seen the ocean before, so this is her first time seeing the ocean. She's 10 years old, so I'm just excited to spend time with them.
For fall break, I'm most excited about getting a tattoo on Thursday. I'm going to be getting a snake on the side of my rib cage. It doesn't necessarily have a meaning behind it. It's always been something I've wanted. So I'm really excited. Everybody's, saying it's going to hurt because it's on the ribs, but no pain, no gain.
I'm most looking forward to seeing my family and watching some football this weekend.
I'm going to the mountains with one of my clubs, so that's what I'm most excited for.
Wow, we were just talking about fall break.
Yes, we were.
What are you doing for it?
Well, I am super excited because I'm headed to Nashville. What about yourself?
I was just saying I'm going to have to spin the block on some of these fair games, y'all, because I need some redemption, and they took my money.
I bet they did. I honestly believe that some of those games are rigged.
Very rigged.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. We'll see you next time.